Pratyajanaranja Yashodanandana Pratyajanaranja Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Gopi Janavalabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Pratyajanaranja Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Pratyajanaranja Yashodanandana Pratyajanaranja Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Giridhari Radha Giridhari Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Om Vishnu Patra Mahamsa Prabhupada Astatara Sata Sivankar Shimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Patra Mahamsa Prabhupada Astatara Sata Sivankar Shimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananti Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Muna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Samavita Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Tagore Premananda, glory to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, glory to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, glory to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna, glory to Shri Guru and Gauranga, glory to Srila Prabhupada, and Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. So we read first a little bit from Srila Prabhupada Lilamrita. Now I'm asked to start earlier than it's here in the book, so I just start where the mark was, where I got that message, and then I set the mark anew in the book here. Oh, hold on. It's a different version. Hmm? All right, then turn it on. Krishna, Krishna. There's something, but it's not loud. All right. Let's fix that. Yeah, it's not loud enough, so let's see. Oh, yeah. Now I'm in a, okay. Maybe that's a little bit too much. I'm a little bit troubled finding the right passage because the versions are different, the pages are different. Oh, no, here. Okay. We just go a little bit back because I'm asked to resume from that area here. Although Prabhupada had given his disciples 3 volumes of Srimad Bhagavatam, as well as Bhagavad Gita as it is, the nectar of devotion, teachings of Lord Chaitanya and other literature, none of the devotees were well versed in them. Many devotees wondered if the philosophy the sannyasis were preaching was correct, but none of them knew enough of the scriptures to immediately refute it. The devotees turned to the new GBC men, Prabhupada's appointed leaders and guardians of ISKCON. The GBC, along with other senior devotees, began carefully searching through Prabhupada's books to ascertain exactly what he had said about the position of the spiritual master. Then Hayagriva announced that a letter had just arrived from Srila Prabhupada in Tokyo. As soon as the devotees all gathered under the pavilion roof to hear, Hayagriva read aloud, "My dear sons and daughters," and then Prabhupada listed almost all the new Vrindavan residents. The devotees immediately felt a wave of hope. Just to hear Prabhupada say, "My dear sons and daughters," was a great relief. Hayagriva continued to read, "Please accept my blessings." Prabhupada hadn't rejected them. The letter went on to say that Srila Prabhupada was pleased with the work of the new Vrindavan devotees and he promised to come and visit them. Soon he would send for other devotees to join him in India, he said. As he described what preaching in India would be like, the devotees became caught up in the momentum of Srila Prabhupada's preaching spirit. They cheered, they felt blissful. Then Prabhupada specifically referred to the difficulty facing ISKCON. Purge out of New Vrindavan the non-Vrindavan atmosphere that has entered. His letter turned tide against the Mayavad teaching. The GBC then called a meeting of all disciples in the temple room. Reading selections from the Nectar of Devotion, they established that the spiritual master, although not God, should be honored as much as God because he is the confidential servant of God. Several senior devotees spoke their hearts' convictions, citing examples from their association with Prabhupada to prove that he had not rejected them. He was too kind. The sannyasis might feel rejected because of their own guilt, but someone said, but they should not project their guilt on others. The false teachings, however, had dealt a blow to which many devotees would need time to recover. From which many devotees would need time to recover. Newcomers at the festival were especially unsettled. But the cloud of gloom that had hung over New Vrindavan now lifted thanks to Srila Prabhupada's timely letter. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 10, entitled Maharaj Rahugana meets Jada Bharat, Text 12. Vishesha Bhute Vivaram Manakcha Pashyama Yanna Vyavaharatonya Ka Ishvaras Tatra Kim Ishitavyam Tattha Pirajan Karavama Kimte Vishesha Bhute Vivaram Manakcha Pashyama Yanna Vyavaharatonya Ka Ishvaras Tatra Kim Ishitavyam Tattha Pirajan Karavama Kimte Vishesha Bhute Vivaram Manakcha Pashyama Yanna Vyavaharatonya Ka Ishvaras Tatra Kim Ishitavyam Tata Pirajan Karavama Kimte. Vishesha Bhute Viraram Manakcha Jaya Samayanna Vyavaharatonyat Ishvaram Tatra Kim Ishitavyam Tata Pirajan Karavama Kimte. Vishesha Buddhe Vivaram Manakcha Pashyamaram Yam Vivahataronyat Ka Ishvaras Tatra Kim Ishitavyam Tatapi rajan karavama kimte. Mataji. Vishesha bhute vivaram manaksha. Pasyamayana vyavaharato nyad. Ka ishvarastatra kim ishitavyam. Tatapi rajan karavama kimte. Vishesha bhute vivaram manaksha. Pasyamayana vyavaharato nyat. Ka ishvarastatra kim ishitavyam. Tatapi rajan karavama kimte. Word by word, Vishesha Buddhe. Of the conception of the distinction between master and servant. Vivaram, the scope. Manak, a little. Cha, also. Pasya, sorry. Pashyamaha, I see. Yat, which. Na, not. Vyavaharata, then the temporary usage or convention. Anyat, other. Kaha, who. Ishvaraha, the master. Tatra, in this. Kim, who. Ishitavyam, is to be controlled. Tatapi, nevertheless. Rajan, O king, if, if you still think that you are master and I am servant. Karavama, I may do. Kim, what? Te, for you. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. My dear king, if you still think that you are the king and that I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say, thank you, that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only from usage or convention. I do not see any other course. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is servant. Nonetheless, if you think that you are the master and that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? Purport. It is said in Srimad Bhagavatam, Aham Mameti, one thinks I am this body, and in this bodily relationship, he is my master, he is my servant, she is my wife, and he is my son. All these conceptions are temporary due to the inevitable change of body and the arrangement of material nature. We are gathered together like straws floating in the waves of an ocean, straws that are inevitably separated by the laws of the wave. In this material world, everyone is floating on the waves of the ocean of nescience. As described by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and please forgive me my pronunciation, Miche Mayara Vashe Yacha Veshe Kacha Habutukupai Jiva Krishna Dasa E Vishwas Kaleta Ada Dukanai. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur states that all men and women are floating like straws on the waves of material nature. If they come to the understanding that they are the eternal servants of Krishna, they will put an end to this floating condition. As stated in Bhagavad Gita 3:37, Kama Esha Kama Esha Krota Esha Rajaguna Samudbhava. Due to the mode of passion, we desire many things, and according to our desire or anxiety, and according to the order of the Supreme Lord, material nature gives us a certain type of body. For some time, we play as master or servant, as actors play on the stage under someone else's direction. While we are under human form. We should put an end to this nonsensical stage performance. We should come to our original constitutional position known as Krishna consciousness. At the present moment, the real master is material nature. Daiviyesha gunamayi mamamaya duratyaya. Bhagavad Gita 7:14. Under the spell of material nature, we are becoming servants and masters. But if we agree to be controlled by the Supreme Personality of Godhead and His eternal servants, this temporary condition ceases to exist. Om Magyana Timirandasya Gananjala Chalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Translation again. My dear king, if you still think that you are the king and that I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. I can then say that this differentiation is temporary and it expands only from usage or convention. I do not see any other course. In that case, who is the master and who is the servant? Everyone is being forced by the laws of material nature. Therefore, no one is master and no one is servant. Nonetheless, if you think that you are the master and that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? Thank you. That's a wonderful verse. It's or a wonderful string of verses where they're apparently, dumb, mad Jada Bharat, playing like a fool, covering himself, keeping everyone away from him, so he's not influenced so much by society because he wants to keep that treasure of a love of Godhead in his heart without being distracted. Now he speaks, and he speaks very eloquently. And after he got chastised by the king, it's not that he speaks out of false ego. No, no, he was not even affected by the chastisement of the king. Because he understands that he is not the body, that he's a spirit soul, and that he has an eternal relationship with the Supreme, and that was his reality. He was completely free of the bodily conception of life. He was completely free of false ego. And so he understood. He understood that whatever happens in the material world has actually nothing to do with him. And that nothing which happens within this material world can affect his eternal relationship with Krishna. That was fixed. Right? And we heard so yesterday as well from Her Grace Urmila Mataji, how even in this lifetime we change positions. Today I'm poor, tomorrow I'm rich. Today I'm the master, tomorrow I'm the servant. Today I'm have some position, some managerial position. Tomorrow I'm fired. That goes in the corporate world within 15 minutes. It can change. On a Friday midday, you sent home. So quickly the positions can change, even within this lifetime. What to speak of different lifetimes. So instead of focusing on our floating conditions, like Srila Prabhupada mentioned so nicely in the purport, that he compares it with the straws on the wave of an ocean. They just move together, move apart, change positions this way around, that way around, just by the laws of the wave. And as children, we also know we throw little leaves or bamboo or whatever sticks there are into the river and observe how they're floating, and the one catches up with the other and changing positions. So we know that example very well. And if we are able to see that for our own position in the material world, well, then we're pure devotees. So let's hope that at one stage we're able to see that, And a wonderful example here is how Srila Prabhupada describes it as the material world as a nonsensical stage performance. That's such a nice example, because when you look at whatever we are doing in this material world, it has no meaning whatsoever. It's completely nonsensical. It has nothing to do with the eternal reality of our relationship with Krishna. It has nothing to do with it. Our family relations, ultimately, it's just nonsensical, temporary, just for this lifetime. But it doesn't affect our eternal relationship with Krishna. Right? So it's a nonsensical, but we take it also seriously. Our job, our family. I'll get to that. It's actually, we have to take it seriously, have to do our duty, of course, But in the eternal sense, in the absolute sense, it's nonsensical. But nevertheless, we're so attached and we're so absorbed in it. We identify with our role in the play. And we maybe even complain that we have the wrong role, that we should do the role like this, and that we have so many better ideas as the director of the play. Right? It causes us so much anxiety and trouble. So instead of focusing on those different roles and how we move through, the different roles in a lifetime, I want to focus on that other aspect Jada Bharat brings up here in this verse, twice even. And I thought, let's focus on that. He says in the beginning, my dear king, if you still think that you are the king and that I am your servant, you should order me and I should follow your order. And then at the end, he again says, nonetheless, if you think that you are the master and that I am the servant, I shall accept this. Please order me. What can I do for you? So let's talk about the acceptance. Why should we accept the different roles we're meant to play in this world if it's actually all nonsensical stage performance? We can just say, well, my relationship with Krishna is there, and we just float around and and absorb ourselves in that relationship to Krishna. Well, obviously, first of all, that has to be fully established, right? But for Jada Bharat, his relationship was fully established. He had no bodily concept of life anymore, but still, he was following. Why would he accept the role? And why is it that Krishna and Bhagavad Gita focuses so much on duty? Do your duty, don't be attached to the result. Better to do your own duty imperfectly than someone else's duty perfectly. If I don't do my duty, what example do I give? So Krishna focuses on duty. And externally, it's all nonsensical stage performance in this material world. Why should I why should I execute the duties of a husband, of whatever role I'm taking, if it's all nonsensical stage performance and has nothing to do with eternal reality? So why performing the duty? And for me, like the master key or the universal key, how you call, the key which opens so many different locks. I'm not sure the English expression is it master key, yeah, is that topic of false ego. We hear all how we should perform our duties for our purification, but what has to be purified? Ultimately, it's the false ego. We see here Jada Bharat, he was free of bodily conception, he was fully established in his relationship with Krishna. He could accept it, he wasn't affected by it, but our relationship with Krishna is not fully established. We're still full in the bodily concept of life. We have the philosophy and try to move away from that, but my God, full of false ego for myself. And so those duties are meant to free us ultimately from the influence of the false ego. Now we should obviously, engagement in devotional service solves everything. That's the universal medicine. We don't have to do anything else than wholeheartedly engaging in devotional service. And that will automatically reestablish our relationship with Krishna, develop our relationship with Krishna. Foremost, in this Kali Yuga, the Yuga Dharma is chanting the holy name with the mindfulness of the relationship, with the desire to serve. We're going to speak about that next week on the Holy Name workshop. But at the same time, the false ego doesn't allow us to. The false ego stands in between us and Krishna. There's a throne in our heart, which is meant for Krishna to take his seat. But right now, the false ego is sitting there, the big, ugly, fat false ego is sitting there, clinging to it and doesn't want to leave. Right? So Krishna gives us a parallel path, a parallel assistance, how to how to purify us, to help us getting rid of that false ego. And we're ceding so much control actually to it, in material life. Whatever we think that is me is actually just the false ego directing us, and we're ceding our control of our faculties, of our body, of our mind, of our intelligence. We cede it all to the false ego. And now we have to take that control back of our faculties. And so Krishna gives us a parallel path, a parallel process, not separate from bhakti and devotional service, but to support while we're not there, while we still struggle with our false ego. And that is Van Ashram Dharma, the different duties according to our, the different roles we're meant to play according to our age, our phase of life, and our natures. So Shudra has very different duties than a Kshatriya or a Brahmana. Similarly, as a brahmachari, you have very different duties to Prihasta or a sannyasi. So according to our age, we have to perform our duties because duty consciousness means we do it if it's beneficial for us right now, if it feels good, if it feels bad, no matter, we do our duty. So the false ego is actually kept out of that process. Usually, okay, if I like something, I do it. If I don't like something, I'm not doing it. But who is that person? But who is that entity liking or disliking? It's the false ego. So duty actually transcends, in a sense, the false ego, the decision making through the false ego. Radhanath Maharaj gives a nice example how, if there are two dogs fighting, which one will win? And it's the one you're feeding. So the whole process of engaging in our duties according to Dharma, like Grace Urmala Mataji said yesterday as well, according to Dharma, then we actually feeding, or we're not feeding the false ego, let's put it this way, at least this way around, and we're meant to feed our real ego, So the false ego doesn't like certain things because it's not beneficial for it. And another aspect is Vaishnava etiquette and culture, and it becomes much more clear there how the purification of the false ego works there, And the best example is the aspect of defending. We hear so much we should reduce eating, sleeping, and mating, and defending also. But defending doesn't seem such a big issue in this world because we have a pretty safe life in New Zealand, at least on the gross physical platform. But we should not defend also on the subtle level. If I come in this here and ask who left the light on, who made this mess, immediately internally the hands go up. It wasn't me. We blame other, we either shift blame to others. I know who it was, chastise him, but leave me alone. So that's the false ego acting as defending. So that's the function of the false ego, is to defend. And when we look into our daily lives, how often we do that, my God, we really have a false ego problem. Lifting up the carpet, hiding any mistakes we're doing, and as soon as, even if you're not personally addressed, who did that? It wasn't me. Defending at every step. So here it's more clear how Vaishnava etiquette prevents, if we can follow Vaishnava etiquette, it can prevent us from acting on the false ego platform. But similarly, it's with the duties, the roles we're meant to perform, especially, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he was obliged to gamble. And he got a bit carried away as well, but he was obliged. He couldn't refuse the challenge. That was his duty. But he knew it's not beneficial for him. He should not do it, but he had to. Out of duty, he did it. And we can see the purificatory effect to a false ego if we were in that situation, isn't it? So the false ego gets purified. So that's the part about how can we accept those roles. This acceptance happens on two levels. Jada Bharat, we can see in this verse, he accepted it internally because he was fully fixed in his relationship with Krishna. And he was ready to accept it externally as well. It was not just empty words. Please order me. hoping that the king realizes what a great guy he is, you know, and not orders him, you know. No, he was fully ready and to accept it also externally and execute whatever the king tells him to do. Yeah. So he could do that because he was a pure devotee and he was, you know, fixed in his relationship. If you're fixed in our relationship, we can tolerate anything. Yeah? If you're fixed in our relationship with Krishna, then only we can actually be truly tolerant, because we understand from the heart that it has nothing to do with me. Yeah? We are chastised or not, it has nothing to do with my relationship with Krishna, and we can take shelter in that relationship with Krishna. If you're mistreated, whatever, it cannot actually affect us, only if you're fully established in the relationship. If you're not, then there may be some grudging. Yeah, we can bite our teeth and suppress, but it affects us. As long as it affects us, that means, well, we're not quite there yet. Then it's more suppressing than tolerating. True tolerance comes only from being situated in our eternal position as servant of Krishna in whatever relationship that may be. Right? So those are the two kinds of acceptance. And now, if we can externally accept the roles, yeah, going through the motions, having the faith that ultimately that will, you know, having the faith in Krishna, having the faith in Srila Prabhupada, having the faith in the spiritual master, that by executing those activities, there will be purification, and we execute those activities, even though we internally may feel a little bit, oh, why is this? And so on, the false ego is protesting, right? Why to do this? But we have that faith to externally execute those duties. Then through experience, then over time you realize, actually, yes, that makes sense. Krishna will give us realizations. And then we can internally also more and more accept those roles. Or the other way around, and there's a nice, I just read it recently, because the next module for Bhakti Shastri is the Ishopanishad, and in the purport, not in the purport, in the introduction, the lecture of Srila Prabhupada, he says one very nice thing, how we should accept the Vedic knowledge as it is, without, with faith. That's the fastest way to do it properly, because if we do research and trying to understand those different issues, it will take time, and we ultimately will come to the same conclusion as the Vedas. So we should just accept it straight away. Again, that faith factor, but we don't have that faith, especially in the West. Who has faith in the Vedas? In God? I mean, really, but it's so opposite. Material life is so opposite to spiritual life, that, I mean, how can we bring up that faith? So we have to actually almost do that research, understanding all the ins and outs of, the roles and the benefits and so on, all right, internally, before we can even engage externally in them. So sometimes, I think, and that's I almost think it's necessary in many aspects for us today to understand the different roles we're meant to play, and see how that actually brings about harmony. When we look into just a few roles, then we realize how amazing Krishna's system is. I think I mentioned that maybe last time as well, how everyone is served in this lifetime and in the next lifetime if we are able to perform our duties and our roles and follow Vaishnava etiquette and culture. It's a win because all our needs are fulfilled right here and now. We become purified from our false ego, and we can engage more easily in devotional service and go back to Godhead. And we have so many, our natures are so different, like Shudra and Brahmana, so different. Male, female, so different natures, very opposite needs sometimes even, right? So, and so our duties we meant to perform for the purification of the current body we are having, to get rid of that false ego, right? That the duties we need to perform are also different. If you have opposite needs and opposite natures, well, then the duties are also very different. You cannot just perform the same thing. And that's why Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita that performing someone else's duty, even perfectly, is nonsense, because it actually doesn't purify the false ego. It may even feed it. It may increase it, right? It may increase our false ego if we perform someone else's duty. So we should stick with our own duty, and that will purify and help us then in our devotional service. And I like to compare, usually when we confronted with duties or etiquette, and oh yeah, it's like no fun in that, isn't it? Following the duties, following Vaishnava etiquette, bowing down when we see a senior devotee. I'm already a few years in Krishna consciousness. Devotees should bow down to me, right? Why should I bow down to this person, right? So the false ego immediately gets allergic reaction, because coming back to my last class about when I mentioned Bhakti Tirtha Maharaj's final appearance, final darshan before he went into seclusion, he was saying his body is already dead now. The subtle body has to die. If we stop feeding the false ego, well, we don't kill it. Devotional service will kill it. But we make it so weak that actually, it's the beginning of the end of the false ego. We are so attached to this body. Every living entity fights to stay in the body, to keep that body alive. If we're threatened, if we corner an animal, it will kick and hiss and scream and scratch. If it can't fly, like if flight is not possible anymore, then it will fight with whatever little facility it has. And so the false ego does the same thing. It does not want us to go anywhere near culture, etiquette, duty, because it will starve, it will get weak, and ultimately it will die. And the false ego is with us so many lifetimes, not just one. We're so attached to this one gross body, and we know it will die. But the false ego can survive almost unlimitedly as long as we're not purifying it. So as soon as you go near it, it will like allergic reactions, this, that, and almost how to go this way. The best test how to check on ourselves how much we are involved in the bodily concept of life, how strong our false ego is. Yeah, we can test it. Usually, the first thing we teach to newcomers, the first thing we hear, the first thing Krishna teaches in Bhagavad Gita is how we're not the body. In so many ways, we're just changing. It's like changing cloth and so on. So many ways Krishna explains to us we are not the body, to really hammer us into our minds that we are not the body. We should get rid of this bodily consciousness. So much. So that's chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita, foundation of Krishna consciousness, right? And we're practicing so many years. We're reading, not just chapter 2 Bhagavad Gita. We read the whole Bhagavad Gita. We read the Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita. We may even go, after we read it a few times, to Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Wow, being all up there, And then the topic goes to men and women in spiritual culture, the duties of husband and wife, and chapter 2 completely forgotten. We're so much in bodily content. Oh, this, that, we can really feel. And that's the false ego coming up with this, that, and gets all this allergic reaction. And I admit it's a very difficult topic to approach. It's one of my favorite topics because it's, yes, it's ultimately getting that understanding right internally. Externally will be very difficult, but internally is actually the key to develop Varnashram Dharma over a few generations. That's, for me, my understanding is that's the key, and I want to just look into that a little bit. First of all, it's difficult to approach that topic for various reasons. First of all, there's so much emotional involvement in there. Now, it's so important to us having a proper relationship, and we need that as well. It's a legitimate need. And so because of the emotions involved and the needs involved, this is already difficult to approach. There's always some bias there, right? On top of that, especially in the Western world, we have so many previous experiences which are maybe not so nice, not so conducive. right? That also shape our approach to that topic. We may be abused, exploited, so many heartbroken experience of broken hearts in our lives, especially probably also on the ladies' side. For the men, it's also there, but it's not so conscious. It's not so prominent in the front of our consciousness. But for ladies, it's more prominent, I assume. So we we engage in protective, how do you call it, ways of behavior to protect us, protect ourselves from more broken heart experiences. So it's, again, as soon as that topic comes up, and the duties of a wife for a Western, modern, emancipated woman is like pretty crazy to follow, right? It's very difficult to approach. And another aspect is, should we do that? No. Let's do it later. Another aspect is is actually that very easily it sounds like one side blaming the other. Right? We take, okay, I'm in a male body, so I'm arguing for the men. Someone in a lady's body will argue for the position of the ladies, and well, there will be a stalemate, right? In a war when the fronts don't move. Okay, we accept that kind of, and we just not fighting too much to waste our energies, but we're a little bit in that situation. And approaching that topic is very easily one side understand or perceives that the other side is blaming. And for myself, as I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist, it's very easy for me to see that the cause why we're in the situation today is because the demoniac elites of this world, ultimately, it's social, how is it called? Social, oh goodness, now I have a word blackout. The demons know the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita as well, but they're not using it to serve Krishna. They're using it to serve their own purposes. And if you, as a minority, want to control a majority, you have to create infighting. And they know that one ashram dharma, proper culture, the strength of human society comes from everyone playing their roles. And the easiest way to destroy that is to sow doubts, to remove God from the top of the hierarchy, because hierarchy is a Greek word which means divine order. And Krishna is at the top. And then he gives protection to everyone below. And the higher we are in the hierarchy, the more responsibility we have, and we protect everyone below. So the Brahmanas protect the Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. The sannyasis protect the other orders, the other ashrams below. So it's a system of protection. But as soon as you remove Krishna from the top, and that's what the demons are doing, we can see it also in Bollywood movies. If there's a sadhu, it's a cheetah. There's no genuine sadhu in a Bollywood movie. It's to remove God. That's the first step. And the second step is then to make sure we cannot perform our duties according to Dharma. And the easiest way is to pollute the minds of the ladies in a way. And that's what it's social engineering is the word. That's what has been done in the 60s and 70s. Systematically, books have been removed from libraries, which show the traditional roles of ladies, how to be a mother, how to be a wife in a nice way. Because ladies were ultimately happy, especially in the villages. Let's say in the villages. In cities, we have even in the Bible, Babylon is like described as a whore. City life pollutes us already because we're so a bit more disconnected from our natural way of living. Right? So, but village life is much more pure. So everyone was happy until that whole propaganda was systematically propagated. So we are easier to exploit instead of focusing on the real enemy, which are the demons. Just put it very simple here. then we're fighting with one another, and that weakens us. And we're so absorbed in that struggle that we're not even worry about why are we actually in that situation. So for me, it's very easy. If there's someone to blame, it's the demons, period. So it's not about blaming this side, that side. We are all victims, and the greatest victims are actually those spirit souls, which in female bodies, who have been enthusiastically helping the demons in their pursuit to destroy their own foundation of happiness and you know, the ability to have satisfying relationships ultimately. And it's a big topic, and I just thought I'd just give a conclusion rather than because to understand the greatness of the role of what women are meant to play in society. And and it's not about in the Manu Samhita there is a verse which describes that acharya or guru is so important. Father is 10 times more important than guru, and 1,000 times more important than father is the mother. So mother, and there are 7 mothers, and ultimately every man should see everyone except his wife as mother. So right? So that role is 10,000 times more important than guru. And the way it is that it's the foundation of human society. Because the role of mother, the role of the ladies are meant to play, helps directly. It's essential for the purification of our false ego, not in a negative way, but so we can tolerate the purification. Mother is the gentle force, encouraging, keeping us in the purificatory process. And that purificatory process, for the most of us, is supposed to be nice, because most of us are grihastas, the attached. If you're attached, you cannot be too rough with the purification. Brahmacharis, vanaprasthas, sannyasis, yes, they can, you know, that's austerity. But in the Grihastha ashram, the purification is actually meant to be gentle, not like a cold shower, but a bubble bath, a spa, very gentle with some oils and some fragrances and very nice. But we have lost that art because we don't understand the roles we're meant to play in the proper way. And you may say, how is it? How is it not offensive to guru to say that mother is 10,000 times more important than guru? It seems like guru apparat, right? But no, we have to understand it's not independent of guru. And like I said, I can only give a little conclusion here to kind of hopefully inspire some inquisitiveness into that topic, because it's so amazing how Krishna arranges everything so everyone is fully provided with everything they need to progress in material life, being happy and as much as we can be happy in the material world, and then purify and go back home to Godhead, no matter which body we're in. And there is an analogy in the Bible which describes that quite nicely. We have that example of Guru giving the Bhakti Lata Beach, the seed of devotional service. In the Bible, there's an analogy how there's the sower man, and he walks over the field and throws the seed, the seeds. And if the seeds fall on the prepared soil, they grow roots, sprout, and bring fruit. But if the seeds are thrown on the on the path, it rains, it germinates, but the roots cannot get into the hard ground, so it will dwindle. If the seeds fall into the thorn bushes, the rain will not reach them, so they just dry up. Also, no fruit, no Bhakti Lata can grow there. Right. So, but on the prepared soil, that's where everything happens. And in a society of two-legged animals, as materialistic society is, the ground is not prepared. The ground is hard. It's very difficult, and we know when we engage in preaching how difficult it is for people to get a little bit the Bhakti Lata beach growing. It's so much pain, so difficult. And so the soulman obviously is the guru. Without guru, there won't be any seed. But who's preparing the soil? And that's the encouraging, gentle nature of the role women are meant to play. They help keeping a humble mood by assisting, by supporting, by encouraging everyone in a certain way to stay in the purificatory process. The key in understanding is how our false ego gets purified, especially in the Grihastha ashram, and that's very different. And it's a little bit of a longer process. It's not rocket science, but it's just too big for a Bhagavatam class for this one short hour, right? So we can say a guru makes human beings within an animal society. But then if everyone does their duty, plays their roles, and especially women, it's like the backbone of human society. They, through their role as mothers, create human society because they prepare the soil. So if Guru comes and distributes the seeds, so much more will come, 10,000-fold. That's why mother is so much more important than Guru in connection with Guru, simply because when Guru is there and distributes the seeds, so much more seeds will germinate and grow into full-grown plants and will bring fruit. And that's the amazing role. And we have forgotten the art. We have forgotten how it works, especially in the Western world. We don't have any role models. It's been all destroyed. It's been all destroyed, that whole knowledge. And we have to almost reinvent the wheel, even though there are some, there's some culture left. India, some understanding is there. Bangladesh, some understanding is there. But you cannot transplant that into the West. It's too foreign. Like Urmila Mataji said yesterday, we have a certain culture, and it's hard to give that culture up. Even though we're practicing devotees and so on, we still have a certain conditioning. So we cannot just transplant that. We have to understand the deep principles of it. And the key is that it helps us to purify our false ego so we can engage in devotional service. And it's actually nice. Another aspect of doing our duties according to Dharma is that we create a safe environment for our hearts. Krishna is at the top, so there's protection. We are protected. We do our duties, so we protect others from broken heart experiences. And that's what people go through in the West. Young girls prostitute themselves even almost before they're in puberty. It's horrible what's going on in schools, in young people's lives. It's completely degrading. And how can the heart survive in that area? So performing our duties actually protects us from, as much as possible in this material world, from broken heart experience. It gives us security. So we can wholeheartedly engage actually in loving exchanges when they are naturally there between family members, between friends, and that can expand. Devotees should engage in the 6 loving exchanges. Especially revealing the mind in confidence and inquiring confidentially. Who can do that in the material world? As soon as you reveal your mind to someone, they take that knowledge and use it against you. That's not their duty, but that's what happens. So if you do our duty, if you have this environment where the 6 loving exchanges can take place, Prabhupada says in the purport in Nectar of Instructions that just by engaging in the 6 loving exchanges, the dormant Krishna consciousness will be automatically reawakened. So if we have a society where the ground is prepared, Bhakti Lata can grow, where the 6 loving exchanges almost take place before Bhakti Lata beach is there. As soon as the Guru comes and gives instructions, so much easy more easily to grow. And if we as a society of devotees can put that into practice, and it takes time. We have to, unfortunately, for whatever reason, Krishna arranged it in that way, we have to reinvent the wheel. We have to reinvent that culture over generations. So we have to get to deeper understanding of the principles. We have to extract the principles and put them into practice. And it will not look like anything like one ashram dharma when we start. But internally we should be able to accept, yes, that's where we want to go. That's where I need to go, but I have those and those impediments. Let's work through them one by one and let's see how far we get in this lifetime. It's so beneficial. And we can all do a little bit. We have this attitude, it's either all or nothing, right? We're not qualified enough to do it all, but we're too proud to do just a little. So we do nothing, right? And pride is again false ego. Our natural position is we're not proud. We're humble. We're the servant of the servant of the servant. But the false ego thinks it's the master, so we become proud. So out of so that prevents us from going there. And yeah, so it's an amazing topic, and the more understanding we get how the roles are meant to play for our benefit, the more faith we actually get into Srila Prabhupada, into Krishna, into Guru, because they're telling us to do that. So once we get to that understanding and be able to internally accept that, the culture, the roles, then we can play those roles, knowing, obviously while engaging devotional service, that whatever we need to do, it doesn't affect my relationship with Krishna. Good. This lifetime, I'm the husband. Next lifetime, I'm the wife. In this lifetime, I'm whatever, a lawnmower man or an Uber driver. Next time, I'm going to be the president of whatever country. Who knows, right? It doesn't matter at all to our relationship with Krishna. And we almost have to get a little bit of a pioneer spirit in that regard, and research and come to deep understanding and understand that it's not anything about blaming, it's for our benefit. Krishna knows reality as it is. He knows how everything is connected, and only he can give a system in which everyone wins. We can't, right? And that will bring us to a way where we can, in harmony, work together. And it's quite interesting. On Thursday evening, I was reading a verse, and I want to conclude by giving a reading an extract from the purport, where Srila Prabhupada mentions that how when we all do our duty or play our roles, then there will be harmony. And interestingly, it's also speaking about the universal form, in a sense. We are all parts and parcels of the body of the Lord. And Her Grace Urmila Mataji was mentioning that yesterday in her class also. And when I read that purport yesterday just to prepare for class, I realized, wow, Krishna is interesting how he's connecting those things. So there were both aspects. What Mataji said yesterday in her class and what I wanted to conclude with is both included in that section of the verse. So I just want to read that. Hopefully it's still open. Of course not. Oh, hold on. Here it is. Don't go away. None of the that's Srila Prabhupada's purport. It's second canto, chapter 1, verse 36, in the purport at the end. None of the living beings is away from the Lord's gigantic body. Each and every one has a particular duty in relation to the supreme body. Disruption in the matter of discharging the specific duty assigned to each and every living being is the cause of disharmony between one living being and another. But when the relation is reestablished in relation with the Supreme Lord, not separately, There is complete unity between all living beings, even up to the limit of the wild animals and human society. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed this living unity in the jungle of Madhya Pradesh, where even the tigers, elephants, and many other ferocious animals perfectly cooperated in glorifying the Supreme Lord. That is the way to peace and amity all over the world. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Kantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Are there any questions, thoughts? I hope I was not too challenging. Thank you, Mataji, for that comment. Yeah, it's that's the thing, the solution. If there's exploitation, if there's disharmony, the solution is to bring Krishna back up to the top of the hierarchy. Any artificial attempt of equality, whatever, does not work. Krishna needs to be on top, and then everything falls into place if we know the roles. And yeah, it's such a big topic, and it's a nice presentation. I could do, from understanding the mechanics, the natures of men, women, and so on, and understanding that it's about the purification of the false ego, then we can actually end up in the Varnashram Dharma. And we have to, I don't know anything, but if we all put our little knowledge together, then we actually can move forward. So yeah, thank you. Anything else? Jai. Grantarat Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premananda Haribo. Krishna.